I'd like to thank everyone for being here today for this webinar presented by the Behavioral Economics and Action Group at Rotman in partnership with the Behavioral Science and Policy Association. This is our fourth and last webinar of this year. Our webinars will continue next calendar year. My name is Patrick Rooney, and I'm a second-year PhD in strategy at Rotman, a BEAR research coordinator, and the moderator for today's webinar. Behavioral Economics in Action at Rotman, or BEAR, is a research center at the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Management. Those three programmatic missions are to research, educate, and engage in meaningful outreach with our academic, governmental, and industry partners. These monthly webinars are our way to hear firsthand from academics and practitioners who are making a meaningful impact in the world of behavioral insights, in particularly behaviorally informed business and evidence-based public policy. We are delighted today to have Dr. Dena Gromet, Executive Director of the Behavior Change for Good initiative at the University of Pennsylvania. Before I introduce Dena, I want to go over the ground rules for this webinar. Following this introduction, our speaker will deliver a 35-minute presentation. During the presentation, please submit questions for our speaker by clicking the chat tab at the top right of your WebEx screen and typing in the entry box. These questions will be visible to all of the participants. At the end of the talk, and with time permitting, we will have a question and answer session in which I will select questions from the chat tab to ask our speaker. As a side note, please only use the Q&A tab, which is also in the top right, for WebEx connectivity issues. Please send technical Q&As privately to Liz Kang, our WebEx technical guru. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dena Gromet. Dr. Dena Gromet is the Executive Director for the Behavior Change for Good initiative at the University of Pennsylvania. She oversees BCFG's large-scale field experiments on enduring behavior change that focus on improving daily decisions in education, health, and financial savings. Dena received her PhD in psychology from Princeton University. She was formerly the research director for the Wharton People Analytics Initiative and a postdoctoral fellow with the Wharton Risk Management and Decision Processes Center and the MacArthur Foundation Law and Neuroscience Project. So with that, thanks, Dena, for being here today, and take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction, Patrick. So good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here today as part of the BEAR webinar series. And I'll be talking to you about the work being done by the Behavior Change for Good initiative at the University of Pennsylvania, led by Professors Katie Milkman and Angela Duckworth. And when we talk about behavior change for good, that for good, what we mean is producing behavior change that both improves people's lives for the better, as well as that it lasts and is enduring. So the question that we're focused on in this initiative is how can we make behavior change stick? And to answer this question, BCFG, as we affectionately call it, is building a behavior change program and research platform that allows our scientific team to test out their best ideas about how to bring about enduring behavior change, while providing our organizational partners with a science-backed program on what we already know from behavioral science works, in addition to testing out these new ideas by our scientific team. And we're building a platform that allows us to conduct large-scale field experiments designed to promote sustained behavior change in three areas. So that's education, health, and financial savings. And the reason that we focus on these domains in particular is because they all feature the same central psychological problem of self-control. So today, after I finish this webinar, I might really want to finish my lunch with a piece of cake. But I know that the healthy choice, right, the good choice for me in the long run, is to eat that apple instead. And the same problem is true in education. So I know I should be studying, but I want to see what my friends are doing on Snapchat. And for savings, so financial savings. I know I should be saving money for that rainy day, but I'd really like to go out and buy that new pair of shoes. So behavioral science has uncovered a number of strategies and principles that we know can nudge people towards choosing that proverbial apple in the moment. But we know much less about how to make that an enduring change in which people are repeatedly choosing to make that same behavior over and over again and forming a healthy habit. And so that's the question that we're focused on answering. So why is this important? Well, one statistic to share about this is that in the health domain, that 40% of premature deaths in the United States are the result of behaviors that could be changed. So that's things like what we eat, how much we exercise, whether we smoke, whether we get recommended screenings. And so changing these behaviors can meaningfully change people's outcomes. So of course, this does not mean that behavior is the only or even the primary way to improve people's outcomes. There are many structural and societal level factors that powerfully influence people's educational attainment, their health, and their financial well-being. But behaviors that are under an individual's control give us one pathway to be able to help people meaningfully change their outcomes and their lives for the better. So the Behavior Change for Good initiative, I wanted to walk through the sort of basic idea of how this works. So we start off with the idea that there are many people out there in the world who would love to change their behavior. So whether that be they want to exercise more, they want to study better, they want to contribute more to their savings or to get out of debt. And also in the world, there exist organizations that serve these people and are able to observe the daily decisions that they make. And our scientific team, which started out with 28 incredible scientists, have ideas about ways in which people may be able to reliably be able to change their behavior and have that last. They're ready to be tested. And so what we've done is to go ahead and create a behavior change program and a research platform that provides people with a behavior change program that includes what we know already works, as well as testing out our scientists' best ideas about what could produce enduring behavior change. So our organizational partners provide us with data about program participants' daily decisions, which allows us to be able to go ahead and test and identify how to most effectively change behavior for good. So our original scientific team, as I mentioned, includes 28 world-renowned scientists. They have an impressive list of accolades that are presented here, as well as a wide range of expertise in academic disciplines that are relevant for thinking about behavior change. So economics, psychology, sociology, medicine, computer science, neuroscience, management, and marketing. And this is a photo of our scientific team at our first gathering in May, in which we talked through the platform that BCFT is building, as well as the ideas that people had about the most promising ways to inspire lasting behavior change. And we've been very fortunate at Behavior Change for Good to have a multi-part Freakonomics series that's covering what we're up to. So the second episode of How to Launch a Behavior Change Revolution actually covered our scientific team meeting in May. So you can hear more about what we were up to by listening to that podcast. And we're very excited to have this opportunity to connect with a large audience about our work, both the process of what we're doing and hopefully in later installments, the outcomes. So today I'll be talking about the launches that we're gearing up for in early 2018, and we have two launches that are currently scheduled for that time. So one is in the education domain with our partner Character Lab, which is an education nonprofit in which we're targeting improving student GPAs. And the other early launch we'll be doing. The launch we'll be doing in early 2018 is our partnership with two gym partners, so 24-Hour Fitness and Blink Fitness, and there we'll be looking to identify how to increase physical activity and specifically going to the gym. So I'm going to walk through at an abstract level how our typical project launch would work and then talk about it specifically with regard to one of our upcoming launches, the one with our gym partners. So here's how a typical launch works. So before the study starts, our organizational partners would invite their customers to participate in a behavior change program. And then on the first day in which the program is launched, then customers would have an opportunity to register online for the program and start their multi-week program. And then our behavior change program lasts for 4 weeks. We're starting here with a 4-week program because previous research has shown that 4 weeks is a sufficient time for habit formation, but this is something that could also be experimentally tested. And so what our program entails is that in addition to this online registration experience that happens as a one-time thing, that following that for 4 weeks that participants would receive interactive text messages, text and email reminders, and as well as being able to accumulate points for the specific behavior in question. And then there is a follow-up period that happens after the program ends, where the participants would be able to redeem points for rewards for their behavior during the program, and also where we continue to follow them to see if behavior change persists after the program ends. So I'll focus for most of the rest of our time here today on the partnership that we have to increase physical activity with 24-hour fitness and point fitness. So the BCFG team is building a program that takes in scientific insights that we already know contribute to behavior change to encourage more gym visits. And so our gym partners are going to offer this program for free to their customers. And then what our gym partners will do is provide us for those people who have signed up for the program, they will provide us with daily data that we're able to track members' gym visits both during the program and following up afterwards. And then our team will analyze the data that we collect during this time and share our learnings not only with our gym partners, but also the world through academic publications and other types of outreach. Okay, so what I'll walk through now is to illustrate how we built this behavior change program. And as I've mentioned already, that what we wanted to do is to incorporate or bake in elements that behavioral science has already established are effective for changing behavior. So that raises the question of, well, what do we know works? So there are 3 things that have been well established to help people change their behavior. So that includes, and to look at here the example of physical activity. So that includes rewarding people for engaging in physical activity, for encouraging people to make plans to engage in physical activity, and reminding people about those plans that have made. And so what I'll do now is I'll walk through some of the science showing the effectiveness of these 3 components. So when it comes to rewarding behavior, right, so this is something that by rewarding behavior, we can increase in the moment how desirable it is for a person to engage in it. So by offering points, for instance, for being able for going to the gym, that is something that's making in that moment the decision to go to the gym more desirable. So what I'm showing you here is a figure from Charnes and Ganese in a classic publication of theirs demonstrating that paying people to go to the gym, so incentivizing or rewarding them for their gym visits, led to lasting habits because we still see, even after people stopped receiving payment for going to the gym, that in the follow-up period, so right going post week 5 on the figure, we're still seeing that the group that was repeatedly incentivized for going to the gym continues to go to the gym more so than the other groups. And with the median impact of 25% post-incentive weekly gym visits. And so a number of studies have replicated this finding, providing providing evidence that by rewarding people's behavior in that moment helps them set them on the path for establishing healthy habits. All right, so the second component is making plans. So there has been much research showing the effectiveness of having people engage in specific plan making for helping them follow through on their intentions. So specific plans can help people make a commitment to themselves, right? Like I decided I'm going to the gym at 9 a.m. on Saturday. And it also makes it harder for people to forget to act on that intention, right? Oh, it's 9 a.m. on Saturday. I said I was going to the gym. And so one study that I'm showing you here was done by Katie Milkman and colleagues with regard to help with people getting their flu shots. And so what they found is that by prompting people to make a plan, so here people were prompted to write down the specific day and time that they were going to get their flu shot, that led to a significant increase in the percentage of people who ended up getting flu shots as compared to the standard mailing when people were only told the times in which the flu shot would be available. So for the third component, reminders, there's been work showing that for customers who received reminders about a goal-oriented savings account saved 6% more than those who didn't receive reminders to contribute to the savings account. And for those who picked a particular savings goal, right, who were like, I'm saving to go to school, I'm saving to buy a home, I'm saving to go on a vacation, those customers saved 16% more than those who were not reminded about their goal, And so what this evidence indicates is that getting a cue and a reminder to engage in that behavior can really help people act and follow through on their intentions. So Katie, along with John Bashir's and other colleagues, actually have done work looking at combining these three components. So rewarding behavior, encouraging people to make plans, and then reminding people of those plans in the context of gym going. And so what they found is that during a 4-week intervention in which the treatment condition received rewards and made a plan and then reminders for those plans, we see that the average number of workouts is greater for those who are in the treatment condition receiving those three components than those who are not. And most importantly, for what we're interested in, that they found that looking 40 weeks out from when their intervention ended, that you're still seeing that people are going to the gym more if they were in that treatment condition, even though they're no longer being rewarded for their gym visits or receiving reminders to do so. So what this study demonstrates is that having that combining of those three elements at work does seem to be effective for producing long-term behavior change. And so the program that we are building to use with our gym partners builds on these three insights. And so we're using what we know works, right, the rewards, the plan making, and the reminders to be part of our basic program experience. So let me walk you through that now from the perspective of a person who would be signing up for this program. So our program, our behavior change program is called Step Up. And so what would initially happen is that you would receive a form of communication from your gym telling you about the Step Up program as an opportunity for a program that you can sign up for, developed by scientists. And you first see this welcome screen that would welcome you to Step Up. On the next page, you would then learn about the key components of the program, right? So it's a 28-day program backed by science to help you build exercise habits. You can join for free and you'll earn rewards for going to the gym. Specifically, your points that can be converted to Amazon Cash. You would then next be presented with the terms of participation. So the details of the program would be explained to you, including how your data would be shared. And you would then, if you agree to those terms, you would then consent to participate. All right, after that step, you're then able to register for the program. So you get a verification code that's text to you. So that welcomes you to step up and provides you with a validation code. You're then prompted to enter this validation code. And this is an important component of our program because given that much of the follow-up, much of the experience of the program does later happen over text message, we need to know that we have a valid number for an individual who's signing up. So at this point in the program, after you've gone through learning about the key components of the program, agreeing to the terms of the program, and then signing up and validating your phone number, you're now, at this point, the gym member is now part of the A/B testing that will test these different variations of the program that our scientific team has designed. And so at this point is where random assignment would happen to one of these A/B tests and one of these variations that have been designed. And then you would so for all participants, they would then learn about how the incentive system works. So they learn about how they earn points for going to the gym, which translates into Amazon Cash at the end of the program. And then on the next screen, participants would you would have the opportunity to go and make a plan for your workouts, right? So if people are engaging in those specific plans, deciding they want to work out at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, they're putting that into their schedule. And then you'll receive reminders based on this time that you picked over the 28 days of the program. And you'll have access to a dashboard that you can access at any time that will show you how many gym visits you completed during the program, as well as give you the ability to change your schedule if you figure out 10 a.m. on Monday is not the time that you're actually able to make it to the gym, and allow you to switch your schedule accordingly. And then the final screen of the program, you finish the registration experience, and you learn the rest of the communication that you'll have over the next 28 days as part of the program will be over text and email. Okay, so now in terms of the exciting part from the science perspective is where you'll see the A/B test, the different variations that our scientific team has designed to test out these different ideas about what contributes to lasting behavior change. So what I walked you through is the experience that everyone will have, and then on top of that, right, people will get to test out people will test out experience different variations that our scientific team has created. And in most instances, this will happen after people have made their schedule for the week. So in terms of the post-online registration experience, this is broken down into two components. So one is emails that participants will get weekly, and so they'll get their gym schedule for the week, right? And then also that where it's highlighted here with the arrow, there's text provided that will vary based on which variation of the program that participants are experiencing. So it'll be catered to match the online registration experience that they had. And then there's also communications via text message. So so what you receive as a person in this program is you get workout reminder text. So for every workout you scheduled, you get 30 minutes before your workout a reminder, it's time to go work out. And then you also receive interactive text messages designed by our scientific team that go along with the variation that you've experienced, the variation of the program that you've experienced. So these texts can be interactive in the sense that they can ask you a yes or no question, or to respond with 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you would get a response back that was dependent on the response that you provided. So what these text messages, these interactive text messages allow is a continuation of that online registration experience, the continuation of the program that you're in as designed by our scientific team. So it's more than a one-time interaction with the program. but it's an interaction with the program that lasts over the 28 days. So what will we test? What will the A/B tests that we've designed for? What will they? What are the different things that our scientific team is interested in looking at? We're extremely excited that we'll be with our gym partners. We'll be simultaneously launching 20 different studies at once, as well as 6 experiments at once with our school partners. And we'll be testing ideas like, with our gym partners, we'll be testing ideas like looking at temptation bundling, so whether pairing your workouts with a guilty pleasure, or providing people with incentives for to get them back on track after missing a workout. Whether these types of ideas help people establish a lasting healthy habit for going to the gym. So these include studies in which previous work has suggested that they likely could be able to contribute and produce long-term behavior change. And what our platform allows is for a well-powered study in a realistic setting to see if these ideas can really produce that long-term behavior change. We're able to follow people after the program has ended. So in addition to conducting the studies themselves, we're also going to be conducting meta-analyses and using machine learning techniques to understand broadly what works as well as what works for whom. So we're very excited about being able to both launch these studies simultaneously, as well as being able to use meta-analytic and machine learning techniques to do a deeper dive into the data that we'll receive. So thank you all for your attention today, and I hope I provide an overview for you in understanding how the Behavior Change for Good initiative is operating, the type of work that we'll be doing starting in early 2018. And we look forward to hopefully having another opportunity to share what we learned from those launches. And I wanted to thank the Behavior Change for Good team. So, of course, our incredible fearless leaders, Katie Milton and Angela Duckworth, our execution team here, and our scientific team that make this all possible. Our partners in the early 2018 launches, Character Lab, 24-Hour Fitness, and Lake Fitness, and our funders, the University of Pennsylvania, the Chance Zuckerberg Initiative, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And if you're interested in learning more and seeing what we're up to, you can visit our website anytime at bcfg.upenn.edu. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Dena. That's really great. So we do have a few questions from our participants. So there's kind of 2 categories of questions that they've asked. They've asked kind of about individual motivation and also the rewards of those specific studies. So first, one of the participants asked kind of about the motivation of the underlying subject pool. So earlier in your topic, you mentioned that you take kind of as your base subject pool people that are motivated to go to the gym. And one of the participants wanted to know basically what impacts that might have on the study. So they were worried about what they called selection bias. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So I would say that the main thing is that we are, so for instance, thinking about this, the partnership we have with our gyms, we are then obviously restricting our sample to people who are members of those gyms. But I would say it doesn't necessarily mean that they're at the moment motivated to work out, right? And so it may be that this program is something that would not necessarily just be for people who are currently motivated, right, but for people who have a gym membership and haven't used it in a few years, right? And so then if this program comes along and provides, like, oh, maybe that's something that I could try out. So I think that, of course, like you always worry about if you want the sample to be representative as possible. But given that that we need to have also data, right? That doesn't simply rely on self-report, but that is observable, factual hard data. And so that's why it's so critical to have the partners who are observing these daily decisions, like going to the gym, who can then provide that data to us to allow us to really answer the question. But of course, there would be limitations in terms of how far you can go with saying that these are, that these results will be found everywhere because you are drawing from a specific population.
Great, thanks. So there's another question about, I guess, motivation or experimental design that I thought was pretty interesting. So one of the questions asked about the effectiveness of conversion to motivate to go to the gym. So in their words, rather than being economically rewarded, being penalized in some way, maybe how that might impact others.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and one of our teams is certainly interested in exploring that question. One thing about in terms of working with partners is that you want to do something where everyone's going to have a good experience going through it, right? And so that's one of the considerations in thinking through what works in these types of settings. But certainly thinking about all of those types of things, thinking about the right way to fit them in are things that could be explored.
Great. I'm switching over to headphones because
apparently there's an issue hearing me. I hope this is helping. Great. So one final question before we wrap up here. So the final question is the rewards. So certain kind of how do you think about giving the rewards? So one participant says, what if participants don't want Amazon Cash? So how do you go about thinking about kind of a broad reward system that motivates people to keep going?
Yeah, no, I think that you could imagine running A/B tests, right, on just the type of reward that you offer, and so that's certainly something that could be done. And so we did some initial pilot testing on this that suggested that Amazon Cash was something that was attractive to many people, but it's certainly true that it's not necessarily that every single person will want a type of reward. And you can imagine also looking at, do people prefer having choice in the rewards that they have versus just being told there's only one type of reward. So those are all things that as we grow and down the line, I think could be interesting variations of the program to look at, and particularly if a member of our scientific team is interested in exploring those types of questions.
Great. I guess that's the end of the Q&A session. It seems like from the talk that there's a lot of exciting things coming out of Behavior Change for Good, and we're excited to see what you guys come up with in 2018. So just to conclude, again, we'd like to thank Dena for leading our webinar today. A full recording of this webinar will be available on our website by clicking the side tab labeled Events and then clicking the sub-tab labeled Their Webinar Series. Our next webinar series will be on January 17, 2018, and we'll hear from Kelly Peters, who's the co-founder and CEO of BEworks, which is a consulting firm here in Toronto, which was the first management consulting firm dedicated to the practice of applying behavioral insights to strategy, marketing, operations, and policy changes. So thank you all for attending, and you can exit this webinar now by closing your WebEx screen. Thanks again.